Good evening. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Miss Hughes, if you would please come on up.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, members of the board. So tonight, what we want to do is we want to acknowledge that March is Women's History Month, and for us to acknowledge our Youth Commission chair tonight, we are, as you know, we instituted our Youth Commission, and we have a young lady who serves as our Youth Commission chairman. So I'd like to invite Karina Kabalik, if you could come on up.
Madam Chairwoman.
Madam Chair, and she will provide our thought of the day. Thank you.
Welcome to the Newton County Board of Commissioners meeting on this Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. The thought of the day is, he that has enough energy to root out a vice should go further and try to plant virtue in its place. Charles C. Colton. I would like to officially call this meeting to order.
Guys, she did a great job. We can do better than that, right? Now we're going to ask if Commissioner Edwards, sir, if you would lead us in our invocation tonight and our pledge.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If everyone would bow their heads, please. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for another wonderful day, another day that we come about to do the county's business. Lord, we ask for wisdom, guidance, and we ask that you watch over all of us. Keep us safe as we travel home, and ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Commissioners, if you would, please, I take a motion that we adopt the agenda, please. So moved. Can I get a second?
I had to ask. Yeah. Yeah, I was making it. But go ahead. I didn't know he acknowledged it first, so will you acknowledge it first?
Why you, Commissioner Sanders? Commissioner Sanders.
Yes. I was trying to add to the agenda. I wanted to add to the agenda. I sent an email last month in regards to our 2017 SPLOS and our 2023 SPLOS for District 3. We have not had any movement in District 3 with our projects. The resident have been asking what is the board going to do in regards to our parks and recreation. As you know, District 3 is the most dense area in Newton County, and as of 2017, nothing has been done, no movement. The residents actually met per the board to vote on 3 locations for the parks and recreation, and as well as the youth facility. In our master plan, we paid almost $100,000 for a consultant to come in and state where the facilities all should be placed in Newton County. And so the residents took their time and voted, and they are waiting for movement. And it still has not been placed on the agenda for us to move forward with Parks and Rec. We are the only district in Newton County that does not have adequate parks and recreation, and that is sad. So I'm asking tonight, commissioners, if it's just a discussion, we need to move forward because we have 2017 that has not been done, and then we also have the 2017 Spring Hill Park is almost finished. District 3 Parks and Recreation has not been touched. And so we want to make sure we're moving aside politics and doing what's best for the community. So my motion is to add to the agenda discussion of the 2017 SPLOS as well as the 2023 SPLOS projects for District 3. And I think our project manager is here tonight.
There was a motion been made by Commissioner Sanders. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion been made by Commissioner Sanders to amend the agenda, and it's been seconded by Commissioner Henderson. All in favor? Well, let me get discussion. Discussion, please. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I wanted to just briefly touch on the item that's been motioned to add to the agenda for tonight. Just to bring a point of clarity, the West Side Youth Facility is not a District 3 project. It is a West Side Youth Facility for Districts 2, 3, and 4. So I want to bring clarity to that. We did have 3 locations. One of the locations was supposed to be given to us. That didn't happen. The other 2 locations failed. We never had a location at all for the West Side Youth Facility. So that is still something that needs to be discussed, but there was never a location. Also, if you look at the 2023 SPLOST, there is a West Side Community Park that is set aside for $3 million. It is going to be bonded. That West Side Community Park is slated to be in District 3. So I want our District 3 residents to know that this board has not negated District 3. You currently have a West Side Community Park from the 2023 SPLOST that is in the process of being done, and that West Side Community Park is going to be placed in District 3. So I'm not sure why we are discussing that tonight when those things are already in the process. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner
Sanders.
Correction. In 2016, this board, and you can pull the minutes, I only can go by what's on the record, this board voted to put $495,000 in each district. Each commissioner named their project. It's also on a recording, and I can play that for you. Each district named their projects. My predecessor, who was sitting here for 12 years, her project was the youth facility. Every commissioner on this board used their $495,000 in their district except District 1, who decided to use theirs for the animal shelter. They had that choice. District 3 did not utilize. That project came from the commissioner that previously sat in this seat. Every board member had their project. Now let's go to 2023. That project is not moving forward. Why? Because the land that the commissioners chose on the northern side of Newton County, of our district, the landowner pulled out. So we're back at square one. That came from the county attorney. That's research. So we're back at square one. The residents came together in a meeting and voted. That was slated by this board to have the residents vote for where they wanted their location. They took that time. The 2 top properties were not submitted to the Board of Commissioners. The first and the third property was submitted. So you voted for a property that went against the master plan of Parks and Recreation, where you had a subject matter expert, we always talk about subject matter experts, who stated where that park should be located. And they said District 3, Fairview Road area, is the most dense area with the most kids lacking parks and recreation. That is in a 500-page master plan, 5-year master plan for Parks and Rec, and that's facts. And I employ all of the residents to do an open records and pull the minutes and ask for recordings. You can ask me and I'll send it all to you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that's a great point. I would like to encourage the residents to do open records request. And the previous commissioner that sat in the District 3 seat actually sent an email. And the email actually outlined exactly what that previous commissioner's intent was. And so if anybody does an open records request, you will see that previous commissioner's email letter that was sent to this entire board to state what that commissioner's intent was. And so I don't want anybody to say, hearsay. It's in black and white documentation. Do an open records request to get the letter that was sent by Commissioner Nancy Schultz. She stated in that letter what her intent was, and her intent was for it to be a West Side youth facility, not a District 3 project. She clearly states that in her letter that she submitted to this entire board. So it was comprised of Districts 2, 3, and 4, so because that comprised of the West Side. So I want to make sure that there's clarity that this is, the West Side Youth Facility is not a District 3 project. It's a West Side Youth Facility for Districts 2, 3, and 4. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
And then
Thank you, Mr. C. First of all, I just want everybody to know that our youth commission, the young lady that we were so proud of her coming up and speaking so eloquently, was a brainchild of Commissioner Sanders. She fought for that youth commission. Not only did she fought for the youth commission, she also fought for the buses and stuff, the vans and stuff for them to ride around in. And I think if, you know, we should give Commissioner Sanders a hand for doing that for this county, because it makes us look good looking out for our youth. And so I can't speak for nobody else, but I'm gonna give her a hand. Secondly, when we are talking about the District 3 community, is that there's nobody who has fought harder for District 3 than Commissioner Sanders. Nobody. And if we want to talk about prior commissioners who sit on the board, what they put out there was a little bit of tot lot. That even when I took my granddaughter out there when we were doing the dedication, and I think a few people who were here who went to the dedication, she didn't want to slide on it. She said, Daddy, she said, Granddad, that's for babies. And so we need a nice park out in that particular area for our community. I thought that's the reason why we voted for district commissioners, for them to bring the intent of what the district, people who lived in the district back to this board, and for us to work together to try and to do their will, the people's will. Mm-hmm. Let's stop trying to change stuff. Let's stop, you know, trying to close down community centers. Let's stop closing down community centers for kids that don't have anywhere to go, but yet people go and take pictures. They go in there and take pictures of stuff that I can't understand it. But I'm gonna say this. It's time for a change. It's time for a change. It's time for us to come together and put people up here going to work for the community.
yes, Lord.
Yeah, work for the community.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for us to put people up here who, instead of, when you come to a commissioner meeting, instead of trying to bring some kind of idea, well, at least you want the commissioner to talk to you, but you won't talk to them. So let's work together. Let's work together and do the will of the people. And the will of the people is to have a park in District 3. Ask the people who live in that district, not the commissioners. Ask the people. That's what it's all about. Thank you, Mr. C.
Commissioner Sanders.
I'm so glad that you brought that up. When I ran in 2020, the majority of people that live on the western side of Newton County said, where is our parks and recreation? Commissioner, where is our parks and recreation? Those that live on the northern side of county, where we have free land, where is our nature park? So Commissioner Mason made a key point. He said the previous commissioner in 2022 sent an email. That is not a vote. So when you pull the record and the minutes, that is concrete evidence, not an email from a previous commissioner sending information stating what she wanted, who's no longer in office. We go by minutes, we go by research, we go by votes, we go by concrete information. Thank you.
So I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor to amend the agenda? All opposed? Thank you. Pass 3-1. Commissioners, I seek a motion that we approve the agenda as stated. Second, this motion by Commissioner Mason, a second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? y'all, we ain't gonna do this all night. I'm just gonna tell you, we're not gonna do this all night. We're not gonna do this all night. State your motion. State your reason.
Reason why I called for an extension. Why can't we at least do something? Hey, we have got to stop thinking about Republicans and Democrats. But what else can you say when you got 3 Republicans always voting to keep something down, to keep the community down in the underserved areas? Why? When we got a plantation, it's beautiful. The grass is cut good, but you come over in the areas where these closed down parks at, it's about high as me. And no children going in and out. But yet we have people come and say, well, you know, I live in Chicago, and in Chicago we did this. We're not living in Chicago, y'all. We're living in Newton County, Covington, Georgia. It's time for the people to speak. Speak for what's right. Stop letting these folks cut off everything in the poor areas. Thank you.
It passed 3-1-1. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments. This opportunity will allow citizens to make comments about agenda topics only. Agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name, your address for the record, please. Agenda topics only. Agenda topics only.
Not just what you added to the agenda, can I state that? But that was added.
We didn't add nothing to the agenda. All right. Agenda topics only.
On the Threat Nation News, my name is Jackson. I'm a resident here of Newton County. What we just heard, Mr. Mason, Mr. Edwards, you guys just did a hostile.
Agenda topics only.
This is about the Park and Recreation, why they did not approve for District 3.
What number?
Number 11 is Park and Recreation, okay? So in 2017, can I reclaim some time because I keep getting cut off?
No. If you
Why you keep cutting me off, man?
You talk about agenda topics
I'm
only.
talking about Park and Recreation. The Park and Recreation, we're talking about the youth facility, right?
No, we're not.
Well, it's still Park and Recreation.
We're not talking about the youth facility, sir.
We're talking about parks, right? Isn't the Park and Recreation is out there in the
if you're talking about the youth
in the facility? Don't they need a facility out there?
If you're talking about the youth facility, you're gonna be asked to sit down, sir.
Well, okay, I still want to bring this to your attention that District 3 continues to vote against the people out in the 3rd District. They do not want them to have the same opportunity that the people in the other district have. Mr. Mason, Mr. Edward, they continue to hold this county hostage. And for what reason? Maybe it's something against the commissioners on this side, but Mr. Edward, Mr. Mason, you guys are dead wrong. You should be working for the citizen of Newton County. You doing more against the people of Newton County.
Deputy, sir, if you
Thank you.
Guys, listen. Listen, y'all, if we're going to have this board meeting tonight, we're going to stay in order. If we're not, we're going to go home. It's just that simple.
Well, make sure you dock yourself when you go. My name is Griggs, and I live in Newton County. And you guys you work for us taxpayers.
Sir,
you need to stop blackballing her. That's what you doing. I heard what you said.
Would you please
and I said what I said. You need to stop blackballing every time she come up to do something. That's what you're doing.
Chairman's report, Ms. Hughes.
Good evening again. Thank you, Chairman Baines.
It's a shame. It ain't fun. It's a shame. Go ahead. I'm talking to you. It's a shame. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ms. Hughes.
As we continue to visit community and nonprofit organizations and shed light on the useful resources available in Newton County. Tonight, you'll hear from Ms. Mary James with the Newton County Historical Committee on Black Heritage. They received ARPA fundings this past year. So can we welcome Ms. James to the podium? Thank you.
You can just come on up. You can just come on up and give your report. Thank you.
I just want you all to see what we did.
Walker, can you get that, please? Thank you.
I'm good, and you? Wait a minute, take the last one. Some of the prints didn't come out too good. Yeah, my name is Mary Terry James, President of the Newton County Historic Committee on Black Heritage Preservation. We received $870, and with the $870, you did the youth feeding 3 times. The youth feeding program was we fed the band right before the football games, and that was our Corby band. We fed them 3 times, and it was $223, and you can see that on there. And each time it was at different times. It was, well, two times the $23, and one time it was $224 with the taxes showing over there. We also received laptops. They was donated to us from Washington Street, and we had them upgraded. That was $200. We also paid for the internet at the band room, and that was $74.98. We had $13.12 left, and I purchased computer paper for that, and I had to put a little bit more money with it, with some of the paper that I received. So that's what we have. We don't have anything left.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you what you doing for the community.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
How much money did we allocate to Ms. Terry James? How much money did we allocate to you?
How much? We got $870.
And all these other folks were getting like $50,000, $30,000, and you only got $800 and the signs on side the building?
Yes, sir.
That's not right.
What had nothing to do with that?
Thank you so much. Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members, community members. I come before you today with the county manager's report. People, purpose, and processes. Today we're going to talk about people, and I would like to extend a huge thanks to our elections director, Angela White Davis, for not only appearing on the Do You Know Newton podcast, but her unwavering commitment to serve us as the leader of our elections department. Early voting, as you already know, have begun, presidential preference primary in particular. And as of March 5th, today at 5:22 p.m., a total of 2,645 eligible residents have exercised their right to vote. 1,260 of them identify as Democrats. 1,385 identify as Republicans. In terms of absentee ballots, they must be received back to the elections office before 7 p.m. on elections day. Already, we have mailed out 499, and as of yesterday, 195 were returned. Election day is on Tuesday, March 12th. Those waiting until election day will report to their assigned precincts. And voters, if you're unsure of your precinct, you can visit the website identified on the slide. It's important to note that the election on Tuesday, again, I'll reiterate, is for the 2024 presidential race. Now, in reference to our local and state general election races, the election will be held on Tuesday, March 21st. I'm sorry, May 21st, excuse me. The early voting calendar for the general primary will be shared following the conclusion of our presidential preference primary. We already heard from our Youth Commission chair. Yesterday, we had an opportunity to take the Youth Commission board to the Capitol, and I want to give a special thanks to Senator Tanya Anderson and Senator Brian Strickland. They shared their time with the Youth Commission board, and they shared their why. Why are they in the business of public service? And I thought the Youth Commission was very receptive. They asked questions of the elected officials, and I think that they had a really good time there. Additionally, Senator Anderson recognized the accomplishments of the Youth Commission and recognized them in the chamber along with Lieutenant Governor Jones. Here are a few pictures of them during the great event on yesterday. As Ms. Hughes so eloquently stated earlier during this board meeting, it is Women's History Month, started March 1st. And I want to extend a huge thank you to every woman that's here tonight, every elected official that is a female, every judge that we have that is a female, and most importantly, and I'm gonna be a little selfish here, the 601 dynamic women that make up our workforce here in Newton County government. We have 280 female staff members that are of full-time status. We have 10 that are of part-time status, and we have 21 that are quasi state and local government employees. We have 4 who are on the temporary job assignments, and we have 286 female poll workers, totaling the 601 women that I would like to share my deepest and warmest gratitude to. This concludes my county manager's report, and I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Ms. C. And yes, Mr. Cooper, it is, I call it Respect for Women's Month. And I think that when we start talking about respecting women, I'm from the old school, and I believe that it starts at home. I think we should start respecting our women up here, sitting around this house shoe first, and then let it spread abroad. We need to stop spending all this money like $1 million saying transparency, and yet you see how we have respected these women here, especially Commissioner Sanders. The fact that she had to have a sheriff deputy to follow in and out the building, that's not right. It's got to have a stop to it. Let's start at home. Let's start right here. Let's stop putting on a show. And let's examine ourselves. Let's examine ourselves. Where we came from, where we allowed the disrespect the women's come from. I heard a little bit it was in Henry County. So let's start right here, right now, this second, this moment. Let's start respecting first Commissioner Sanders, and let's move it abroad. Thank you, Mr. C.
It's 7:30 zoning. Ms. Applewhite, if you would, please. Guys, so let's make sure we set the tone. So we're not going to allow any outbursts. We're going to ask you to leave if you do. This is a board meeting, a public meeting. Please, ma'am, please, sir, refrain from using outbursts. Thank you. Ms. Applewhite, it's 7:30. We're going to move into our zoning tonight.
Thank you, Chairman. We have one zoning petition this evening, Chairman. It is old business. It was originally heard back in January and tabled for 60 days until this meeting. It is, the case number is APP 23-000005. The name of the appeal applicants are Carolyn K. Finn and Stephen Von Bromson. The original case number that was heard by the BZA is VAR 23-000011. And the original applicants were Torrin Mike and Margaret Armstrong. The property owners are also Torrin Mike and Margaret Armstrong. And the address that we're looking at today is 1135 Bethany Road. And the original purpose that was heard before the BZA was to place a kennel on the property for boarding and grooming of dogs. Tax ID number was 0016043A. It is located in District 2 on 23.23 acres and currently zoned agricultural residential. And again, the appeal request is to appeal the BZA's decision for which was made for VAR 23-000011 to approve relief from the required setbacks for a kennel for dog boarding or grooming. And the original request, again, was to seek relief from the required setbacks for a kennel for dog boarding and grooming. The potential effects on the county are none if developed with staff's recommended conditions. And the applicable standard would come from Division 510, Section 510-355, which goes through the requirements for a kennel, which is 4 or more animals, dogs. And I won't read through this. This is included in your staff packets. And just a brief history. On January 16th, 2024, the BOC tabled a petition for 60 days. And on November 30th, 2023, the BZA approved the request by a vote of 5-0 to seek relief from the required setbacks for a kennel for boarding and grooming. And the BZA approved the variance with the following recommendations listed below. I have included these same recommendations currently for the appeal case, so I will read through them at that time. I just want to note that the BZA added number 7, which they stated the kennel shall have no more than 20 dogs now or in the future. And that was added at the time while it was approved. And the site plan analysis, again, it shows that the current home is approximately 587 feet off of the road. The property fluctuates approximately in width, from 612 to 783 feet across. So due to the shape of the property, it's long and it's narrow and long. There's no location which would allow for the 500-foot setback on either of the sides. This is the east and west sides of the property. And again, on November 30th, the BZA approved the request to reduce the 500 feet from 441 feet on the eastern side and to 261 feet on the western side of the property. The applicant for the appeal lives to the south of the property, and their property line is approximately 855 feet away from the proposed location of the kennel, and this exceeds the required 500 feet. The two lots are also separated by trees and a pond, and the applicant's main concern today is that the dogs may be heard from where the kennel is being located. So should the request be approved, staff recommends the Board of Commissioners approve the application with the following conditions put in place by the BZA and the additional condition number 8. I have amended number 7 after speaking with the applicant. He was open to having a number of dogs in the kennel reduced, and the board could make a determination today if they would allow this change in it. So number 1, the kennel is for the purpose of boarding and grooming of dogs. 2, the kennel shall be at least 441 feet off of the eastern side of the property line and at least 261 feet off of the western side property line. Any building or enclosed structures for the housing of animals shall have a minimum setback of at least 100 feet from all property lines and at least 150 feet from any public right-of-way. All areas housing animals shall be completely enclosed by walls or fences at least 5 feet in height. Any outside activity or exercises for the dogs must not occur within 100 feet of any of the boundary lines on the property. Number 6, outside pens must be located a minimum of 50 feet from an intermittent stream and 150 feet from a perennial stream. And the original number 7 was the kennel shall house no more than 20 dogs, and staff would like to propose that the kennel shall house no more than 12 dogs. And number 8 was an addition for this case. The owner shall put design measures for the kennel in place to help reduce any potential noise from the dogs, and this would include type of building materials. This is an area view of the property. So this is the property, it's about 23 acres. I'm gonna zoom in the next slide, but the house is located here and the kennel is gonna be right up here behind the home. So this is it zoomed here. This is the proposed location of the kennel. You've got the house and an existing barn up here, and then we've got the pond here. And they're asking for the setbacks from the two sides, which, you know, they won't be able to make the 500 feet there. This is the location of the applicant's property in relation to where the kennel is gonna go. So the applicant's home is here. This is their parcel here. And the kennel is up here, and it's about between just over 800 feet away from the applicant's home. Current zoning is agricultural residential, South River watershed, and of course this is a district map, District 2, Commissioner District 2. This is a survey of the property showing where the home is and the pond and the other structures on there. This is also the surveyed property showing the lines. Now we have a close-up of this one here. So they're asking for the relief of 441 feet on the eastern side, and over here the 261 on the western side, and this is where the dog kennel will be located. This is just concept plans or renderings that they're proposing for the kennel. Of course, they will have to submit submit for a building permit application, which will be reviewed at that time. And this is from above. It shows the separation of the kennels for each one of them, and their doggy beds and food bowls. And that is the final thing. I should note that this petition, because it's located in the AR district, it will come before this board again for a conditional use permit should this appeal, should the board uphold the BZA's decision tonight. And Chairman, this was all. This already had a public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll leave it up to the board to decide.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This board did table this case for 60 days, which did give me an opportunity to kind of do some additional research as well. So I did have a conversation with the Zoning Board of Appeals to kind of see, what was, why did they make their decision to approve it, and really based off of their approval to approve it was merely based off of the eastern side and the west side buffer. And so, of course, our current ordinance states that it has to have a certain buffer amount. And so I think the Zoning Board of Appeals, what they did was they looked at the current ordinances in place and they approved it based off of the current ordinances for that east side and west side buffer. Then I did also have some follow-up conversation with our development services to kind of get some more information and kind of figure out what this is all about. Of course, it has been brought to my attention that there is a need for kennels in Newton County. And so it was like, well, is this the best location for it? Then when you look at also the ordinance has the buffers amount, it has to at least be 500 feet. It looks like the current distance from, I guess, the current applicant and where this particular kennel will be placed is over 800 feet. I think what it is, it's a good thing that we kind of try to find a happy medium in regards to how we can work through this. And so with that actually being said and looking at all the information and the research that I found and the data that I came up with, Mr. Chair, I'm actually going to make a motion that we deny this appeal of APP 23-000005 with staff recommended change conditions that was just stated tonight.
So you're making a motion that we deny it?
That we deny it, correct.
Can I get a second, please? Second. It's been a motion made by Commissioner Mason that we deny this tonight, and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Ms. Applewhite, what was the planning commission, and whenever they looked at it, did they have an opinion?
The Board of Zoning Appeals, they approved it by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in, Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just so that this board is not confused about my motion, if the motion that I have is to deny the appeal case, so if this case is denied, that will uphold the actual vote of the Zoning Board of Appeals, meaning that this project will move forward, which is what the Zoning Board of Appeals actually said. Once it moves forward, then the applicant will then have to come back for a conditional use permit. This board can then put in regulations and stipulations to ensure that the concerns that the appeal applicant had would be addressed. So I just want to make sure that this board understands that my motion to deny this case doesn't go against what the Zoning Board of Appeals actually stated in their approval. It actually is in alignment with what the Zoning Board of Appeals actually recommended. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
That I have is, would the applicant have to pay another fee? I think it's a fee for to bring it before the Board of Commissioners, or would the denial of it, would that make them have to pay another fee, or would it be just?
So the original applicant for the variance, they paid a fee for that variance. The appeal case has a different applicant, and yes, there is a fee for that petition as well.
So if we deny it, they wouldn't have to pay another fee, or would they?
I'm not sure I understand, sir.
There won't be any additional fee until the owner applies for a conditional use permit. There is a fee associated with the
Oh,
CUP.
that's
Yeah.
thinking.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was kind of confused myself.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Stand denied. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Chairman.
Next is the consent agenda. Commissioners, I seek a motion that we approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders?
I had saw something on the consent agenda where it was, I think it was with GDOT, and it was with the budget. Although it's not going to be a budget, but it said budgeted yes, but it says no budget. I was looking at the one that was sent to us. If you can scroll, yeah, it says budgeted yes, costs in A, but budgeted yes, match in A. So if there's no funding, why would it have a yes next to budgeted? That's what I want an explanation on.
You want to do it?
Chester's here.
Chester, if you would, please come on down.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is just a restating of the policy that the board has already approved for procuring consultants for GDOT federally funded projects. They required another form to be signed in order for the chairman to be authorized to sign, and I brought it to the board, but it does not commit the board to spend any funds in the future.
Any more
So he's answering my question. I had a alternate question. So is the budgeting pertaining to GDOT? Because when it says budgeted yes, is that pertaining to GDOT?
It's, I don't think it has much meaning since there's no funds or any money involved in the.
That's why I was
in the
asking, so the
item.
language was not correct on the agenda. That's why I was asking that.
Thank you, sir. Hey, guys, listen. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0.
Mr. Chair, the next item on the agenda are the items for discussion and consideration. The next item we have listed is number 10, Solid Waste Management Authority is requesting approval of Yancey Brothers Company proposal 2412 to purchase dozer, control, and rover GPS. We have Mr. Matt Dolan, our solid waste manager, presenting.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, so we are requesting the purchase of a dozer control and rover for the landfill using 2017 SPLOS. This was a proposal process, and we selected Yancey Brothers. So we're basically doing this for landfill operations and the construction of the landfill. This streamlines our process and helps us out significantly.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Gotta
sir.
seek a motion, please. Can I get a second? Been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders?
It's not really a discussion. I just wanted you to expound on the Solid Waste Authority, because I think a lot of residents are confused on who owns the dumps and who has authority over the dumps. So can you expound on that? Who has the authority and who takes care of them and maintain the convenience centers?
The Solid Waste Management Authority maintains the landfill and the centers. And so that's, I go around and maintain the centers and the landfill.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, because they placed it on the Board of Commissioners, and I had to inform them that that's under the Solid Waste Authority.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, we have another item, number 11. Our presenter is Mr. Dwayne Mask, our Director of Parks and Recreation. We have Newton County Parks and Recreation Department is requesting approval of Outdoor Professional Services LLC service contract.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. So we're seeking approval to put in an irrigation system at Stone Road. That is the original irrigation system from 1990, so it actually hadn't worked in about 10 years. But and I think on here it has 4 fields. There's only 3 fields there, so that's what we're seeking approval for tonight.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Sir. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments. This opportunity will allow citizens to come up and make comments. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please, ma'am, please, sir, state your name, your address for the record, please. And remember, you do have 3 minutes to do so. Citizen comments. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
Hey, my name is Samantha Day, and I'm a resident of the Stoneleigh community. I'm here tonight hoping that my voice and the voices of the Stoneleigh community will be heard. If you're part of the Stoneleigh community, could you please stand up tonight? Tonight, several others and I are here in regards to the property at 96 Westlake Drive. For over 2 years now, the property has consisted of a concrete basement slab, a vehicles parked at the right along the road with a camper, a tent full of items, and a porta potty. I myself am an avid camper, but when I chose to buy in Stoneleigh, it was not to live in a camper community. Several of the other counties around us have ordinances against living in campers for this exact reason. There are several concerns I have with this property and situation. Not only is the site an eyesore, but it's affecting people who are trying to sell their homes. Another issue that I wonder about is environmental concerns. When in a camper, you have to dump your gray water, which is your dirty water, and your black tank, which is your sewage, regularly. He currently has his camper hooked to a portable tank, which I hope is being disposed of properly, but who knows if it is, because There are no regulations about campers living on properties, and it could be being dumped into the lake right on his property. I urge you to change the ordinance that allows people to live in campers for over 2 years when not actively building their homes. When this is changed, he should not be grandfathered in. In addition, he should not be allowed to have his permits renewed. In addition, I'm curious to know how he is being allowed to run for District 3 Commissioner, but yet fails to meet the requirements of having a permanent residence, as a camper should not be considered a permanent residence. As you go home tonight and drive by any property of land by your home or your neighborhood, please think about how you would feel to see this site every single day as you enter and leave your home, a camper, a porta potty within 10 feet of the road. I urge you to consider these points and make the proper changes to support our community. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
I'm also a resident of Stoneley, and I've actually brought pictures. I've got 3 packets here, or 3 pictures each that are
What's your name, sir?
Tim Pickett,
Thank you, sir.
and they're numbered 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3.
Got you, sir.
Our approach was just a little different, but still, same thing. My name's Tim Pickett, and I live with my family at 310 Lake Stoneley Drive. Thank you for hearing us tonight. I appreciate it. 96 Westlake Drive. Approximately 2 years ago, a house was started construction. The concrete poured foundation was started and completed and has sat there since. And if you look at the pictures, they're from the point of view driving from the left side, you'll see the dumpster, you'll see the barren land, you'll see the rocks and gravel, you'll see the partial privacy fence, you'll see the porta potty, you'll see the safety cones, you'll see the vehicles and things out there. And as I understand it, there are no code enforcement levers to do anything about it. Backing up, last summer at 3215, neighbors of ours on Lake Stoneley, Christina and Floyd Roberts' septic tank failed. They had to replace it. The yard was left barren because the landscaper said, you don't need to plant yet because the soil has to settle. Code enforcement came out and made them plant grass, and it failed as expected, and at their expense, they had to redo their yard. But code enforcement made them fix that because it looked bad. And the Roberts only had maybe a fifth of the property that is denuded and barren, and this property exists. So there appears to be no code enforcement that can do anything about this. And it's been an eyesore. I applaud somebody who wanted to build their own house. It's a fantastic idea. I've done it before. But without some kind of deadline or something, you know, y'all need deadlines, we all need deadlines. Without deadlines, things can drag on and on and on, and it's been over 2 years. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Carolyn Woodward. I live in the District 3 in Alana Sanders District. And I'm here today. I've been here a couple years ago. You may have met me when I was in a yellow wheelchair. There's still not handicap accessibility, and I'd asked Alana to fix it then. She tells me that I can ask permission to enter the building. It's a barrier that needs to be corrected. There's plenty of money. So that's agenda item number 1 that I'd like you to notch and make it available for next month. I'd like to see some type of status on that. Also, you had indicated that we pay Parks and Recs, Alana. 12 years ago, your location was not, first of all, you didn't get approval from the board to even submit an application. Second of all, it was denied because it was improperly filled out. Third of all, the original proposal was 12 years ago. Okay? A lot has happened in those communities in 12 years. And the area that you're talking about is outside of District 3, and it's in a crime-ridden area. Now, all of this, guys, I want to face the audience here because you're really who I care about talking to. This has been.
If you will, face me.
I can't do that. Oh,
Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry.
Thank you much.
Sorry, I'm breaking the rules.
Thank you much.
Anyway, so that's a moot point, Alana. You can laugh at me. I'm not a professional speaker, so I'm out of my wheelhouse here. So that's the reason why. We indicated early vote numbers, which is excellent, and I promote that because we've got to get people out to vote. But I don't really care about how many voted Republican or Democrat during the early voting. I don't know why that comment was even made. Could it be that most of us here are Democrats? I don't know. Also, the Women's Month. I'm a woman, And I don't care about your gender and I don't care about your race when you're running my community. I care about the performance and I care about your business ethics. I care, Mr. Henderson, can you kind of sit up a little bit? Or am I keeping you awake?
Ma'am.
Okay, there you are. Anyway, I just want full attention, that's all. He's slouching. I can hardly even hear what you speak.
Guys, listen.
And that brings me to my next topic. This has to stop. I worked in business for 30 years, and this display of lack of teamwork is really disgusting. I see these two fighting all the time, like 2-year-olds that need to be separated. I'm sorry, you all can watch the recordings on this. It's ridiculous. And that brings me to my final point, Alana. You've ignored several of my requests. Those requests 2 years ago in 2022 had to do with the trash dump that's on Dial Mill along with the empty bowl station. Don't roll your eyes, because you knew I was going to bring it up today. I'm going to bring it up next month, too. That's our property. We own it. And there's fine homes that have come up on Dial Mill. Do you think they'd like to have that empty trash dump next door? Make it back to natural land and leave it. But I would suggest you make it back to natural land and you sell it and put the money back in our bank account in the county, because it's our money, not y'all's. It's ours. We worked our whole lives for it. Okay? And then also, I'm going to finish here with a couple emails that I sent to Ilana that she's ignored. And she's also got a bunch of cronies after me because I'm allowed to criticize. You're not allowed to do that to me because I'm a private citizen. If you don't want me to criticize, then don't use social media, okay? And I'm only doing this here because she ignores me. So.
Thank you. Time's up. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next, please.
Hello, my name is Melissa Tice, and I'm a resident of the Stoneleigh subdivision, and I actually live on Westlake Drive, which is the road where we are all here. Again, if people from the community of Stoneleigh would stand so that everyone can see here that it's not just me, and it's not just the few people that have spoken, it's all of these people and more. Thank you, sorry. But what I wanted to say is that the property is at 96 Westlake Drive. It was granted a special variance by you and whomever, the permitting people, so that he could actually build that close to the lake and to the road. And yet 2 years later, we're still sitting with a foundation. It is at the very beginning of where our subdivision starts. So when you pull into our subdivision, the first thing you see is a wonderful porta potty for 2 years. Then you see a nice camper, right? And behind the camper is a tent. And in that tent is junk, right? And this is what we have to look at for 2 years. So, what I would ask is that you, as our commissioners, whatever group you have to go to or however, come up with a way to allow there to be a timeline and not to allow progress to be, oh, I moved a roll-off container. Oh, I picked up a 2x4, so I get my next permit. I can apply for another one. Please, come up with a timeline. Come up with rules and regulations that are more specific so that these things have to be completed in time. Because unfortunately, all of my neighbors and all the people here are having to deal with this. And it's really getting out of hand. Again, the property owner has had ample time for real progress and to build the actual structure, more than 2 years, much less to complete the home. So again, I'm asking that if nothing else, please come up with a timeline. Please have more specific rules, regulations when it comes to this, because we've had to deal with this for 2 years and it's just not fair to us. It's not fair to our property values and it's not fair to our quality of life. We all pay our taxes. We all do what we're supposed to do. We follow the rules, but unfortunately there's not a rule here for this. And not just that, I would also ask that, as the lady before me stated, there needs to be some type of rule with respect to living in a camper on a property that has nothing but a foundation. I can understand everybody has tough times, everybody has hard times, but there needs to be a timeline and something needs to be done about this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Good evening.
I'm John Detleff. I also am a member of Stoneleigh Community. And along the lines that have already been expressed, I have some information here and some pictures that if I may give to this woman. I don't know if, do we need to request to be put on an agenda to discuss this at length? Or is it up to y'all to discuss this and determine an appropriate action? We need to do this for the good of Newton County. This is not just Stoneleigh community. This is for our county, our community as a whole. And we need to go over some ordinances and eliminate some loopholes and make it reasonable and fair for someone trying to build a home. And we've been very patient, and it's time to get some gears rolling. So please consider that. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Vincent McClendon, and I live in the Winchester Park subdivision off of Fairview Road. I lived in this county for 23 years, and I've seen nothing but schools, which is good. Have not seen any sidewalks, not even a park. I mean, it's embarrassing that I have to go over to Rockdale County, which is the closest park to my home, just for my grandkids to play. My kids are already grown. But for 23 years, I've lived in this county, and I've seen nothing. Businesses being put up consistently, tearing up our roads. Is this a fair assessment for my taxes? I mean, if you're not here to be for the people, if you're not here to put things in this county where we pay our taxes into, you need to leave. I don't mean, I'm not trying to be threatful, and I'm not trying to be ignorant or rude to you. However, you're here for us. We voted you in, and we need you to do your job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Mark Gardner. I live at 650 West Macedonia Church Road, which is right at the entrance to the Stoneleigh subdivision off of Westlake Drive. I live in a home that I built with my wife and moved in 2022. We bought a piece of property that was on 7 acres. It was on a lake, and the lake is a private lake, and it's owned by 6 different homeowners. One of them being the individuals under discussion here about the problem with his construction process or incomplete construction process. So it was, I came on April 22nd and 21 when they had the zoning meeting when he was requesting a variance on this property. And I had a number of concerns about if it was appropriate. Some of the questions I asked the members of the commission at that point in time were, what was the purpose of the zoning ordinance? What is the purpose of the setbacks? What is the purpose of him getting a variance? My concern was that these rules or ordinances are in place for some reason to protect the community, the property. There's reasons why these things were put together. Well, in the wisdom of the committee, they decided to allow the variance. And actually, there were only 2 people that evening spoke out against it, me being one of them. In the interim, we actually made acquaintance with the folks that were trying to build. We're planning on building here, and had a cordial relationship, and I wished them well in their construction process. Well, their construction process appears to have been strung out. I have no idea why, but my concern at the time was about the lake. So let's talk about my lake, or our little lake. So in this construction process, of course, they put up what's required for barriers to try to stop silt from washing in, but his whole ground on the backside of his, from where I can see on the backside of his foundation, is raw. So guess what happened over the last, since January, since we've had these hard rains, where the lake almost went over the spillway, where it came up at least 3 to 4 feet. what we had read in the lake, because coming off that piece of property. My concern again is about the lake and protecting the community. So in these rains, that very first rain, he has a pontoon boat out there. He has a little rowboat out there. He had his friends and kids, they go out fishing. That's great. Problem is, this rain has washed his rowboat up across the lake.
Thank you.
And it's halfway, it appears to be, from my vantage point.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
I just asked for if there's anything y'all could do, please do handle it.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Madison Damiani, and I am a resident of the Stoneleigh community. I graduated from the Newton County School System, grew up in Covington, attended college, and chose to move back to Covington as a college graduate because of the opportunities afforded to me in this great county. I love Stoneleigh and the sense of community that when I decided to purchase my own home at 23 years old, I purchased in Stoneleigh. Over the past few years, I have seen the situation unravel and create a sense of divide amongst our community, which is truly heartbreaking. I could reiterate everything everyone has already said, but it's 8:06 and I'm sure everyone has a bedtime. But it seems like you guys are finding value in the statements that our community is presenting to you tonight. From a citizen's interpretation, I read in section 510-10 that recreational, this is in the, I don't know how to pronounce it, but the code, recreational vehicles cannot be parked on lots where there is no primary dwelling or other structure housing a permanent principal use except in RV parks. Even if someone were to interpret the footings on this property to be a permanent structure, 500-55 goes on to say that RVs cannot be occupied any longer than 14 days. The existence of the RV on this property is a violation of our ordinances, and that is according to my interpretation. I hope that you guys can see that this community needs your help. On all sides of this situation, we need you guys to step in and assist everyone. To the elected officials in front of me and the community behind me, I truly hope that we can work together to find a solution to the situation. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Frederick Johnson, 1036 Highway 162, Covington, in the Spring Hill community. I was talking with Dwayne Mass before the meeting, and he was telling me that our park is coming right along, so we might have a chance to use it around June, the latter part of May or June. So I thank you. On next Wednesday at 6:30, the Solid Waste Commission have asked to have a meeting in our community at the Spring Hill United Methodist Church. And I wish that I could get some of my neighbors to come to these meetings, but they don't, and I have to relay all the information to them. But if you all, some of you, if you have time, would you come to the meeting on next Wednesday? Maybe they might have some questions they might want to ask, and maybe you can answer some questions and so forth. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
On the Threat Nation News on YouTube, Mr. Cooper, Mr. Elwood, Mr. Mason, Mr. Baines, Mr. Carwin. If you guys was half the leader of the great legendary Eric Mays out of Flint, Michigan, he died last week, so we want to pay tribute to his hard work, what he did for his community. If I'm here in Covington, Georgia, speaking about a man 800 miles away, what that says about your leadership. That goes to show you his work. You guys don't care anything about the people out here, Because if you did, those monitors would have been on the wall out the way so these people can see. Mr. Mason, you didn't bulldoze the facility out there in District 3. How is that? Why is that? Could you do something to improve that district out there for the youth people out there? What's wrong with you, man? Clean it up, man. Help the people in District 3. Stop thinking about your own ego, because that's what it sounds like. It's an ego thing. The people out in District 3, they asking for that. So last month, I talked about snake oil in the desert. And a lot of people in Newton County don't understand what I'm talking about, but it was based on Miss Kennedy and Mr. Cooper pushing some figures on you. And if you believe those numbers, I got that snake oil in the desert waiting for you, because something is not adding up about the ARPA fund. The number's not adding up. So that goes to show you, out of $21 million, only 275 residents were served. How is that? Somebody is lying up here. And I called out the name. And so if you think they won't do it to you out here, they just did it to District 3. Okay? Newton County, these commissioners up here, they got their own personal agenda. They don't care about you. Okay? They're going to pat you on the head just to make themselves feel good or in front of the cameras. But when they get behind closed doors, it's just like falling on deaf ears. You need to get out and vote, okay? Because these people right here, they don't care anything about you. They're going to do their own thing. They don't care about you, man. So that snake oil is still available in Newton County. If you want to believe those figures, those numbers, hey, that snake oil is waiting for you. But for me, $21 million, 275 people didn't get served, $400,000 Salvation Army got, and did they return the money? Did you do an investigation? Come on now. It's people out here hurting. That ARPA fund money belongs to the people. Thank you.
Sir. Anyone else?
Me again, Griggs, 55 River Shows Court. I come up to talk about leadership. So like he said, the chairman had a conversation the other night out in the parking lot. And I was telling him the way I did it when I worked for the federal government. You work with the person in District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4 to find out what they need in the areas. Then he can kind of branch off and go talk to this man. Maybe we need to help them. Maybe we need to help over here. But you guys is all caught up in your own thing here. You got Brother Sand over there, Mason, and Cowan, and Chairman Bain. All four of y'all need to get gone. And the people out there, it's voting time. And it's time to get them out of here. You hear me?
Anyone else? Anyone else?
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
My name is Tiffany Benton. I'm a resident of District 3. I was not going to speak tonight, but something that was said earlier moved me to get up out of my seat. I am increasingly concerned about the lack of agenda items given or attention given to District 3. I don't have any agenda other than what's best for my community, and like someone else said, what's best for my community is for the good of all of Newton County. I have been a resident of District 3 for 23 years. I want to know where my tax dollars are going. I want an itemized list of what happened to our 2017 SPLOS allocation. I'm hearing about parks being built and completed where people's children in other districts are going to be able to play and enjoy this summer. We haven't even decided on a location, and I've been asking for years. And like the gentleman said earlier, I've had to take my kids to O'Neill Park to play football for years. I feel like as a taxpayer, I am owed something in return for my tax dollars. And all we are asking for is our fair share of things that are going to enhance the quality of life for residents in District 3. Where are our walking trails? Do we not deserve them? The young lady said earlier, something about a crime-ridden area. I am appalled. Do we not deserve parks, walking trails, and the quality that everybody else has in their district? Because your idea of our area is that it's crime-ridden. I would have you know there are hard-working residents, honest, paying tax residents in District 3 that want something in return for the money we have paid in Newton County tax, property assessments, SPLOST funds, whatever, for 23 years. Why is nothing for District 3 being placed on the agenda? Where are our parks? Where are our walking trails? Where is the quality of life? We don't want another subdivision until this question is answered and there's a remedy. Why do we hire a consultant to ask the community? We took our time, my community members came out, where the park should be placed. Nothing's being done and this consultant is being paid. That doesn't make sense to me. We're wasting money and doing nothing. I am offended. I don't have any agenda other than what's best for the community. And what's best for District 3 is best for all of Newton County. I feel offended for the children, because you're talking about crime. They don't have nowhere to go. What they supposed to do? They're hanging out with nowhere to go. There are no activities in the whole area. If their parents can't afford to take them to other places to have activities like me and my husband can, then they just hanging out on the street with nothing to do. Ridiculous.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Hi there. Thank y'all for allowing all of us to come this evening and to talk to y'all. I want to also say thank you to all the Stoneleigh residents and all the others that came tonight so that we could chat with y'all, okay? What we wanted to do was make y'all aware of some of the problems that we have incurred out in our subdivision. If they're occurring in our subdivision, where else are they occurring at? It's going to be all over Newton County. And the growth of Newton County right now, I am 71 years old. I have lived in Newton County my entire life. And I've never seen anything like it is now. And it's just growing and growing. We just don't seem to have the streets to accommodate all the cars. And it's just getting worse by the minute. And if we're having these things happen, where people coming in, starting to build a house, and they get, for some reason, it goes no further than just digging out the basement, then, you know, they need to get help, or something needs to be done at that point. And there again, that's why we need these time limits. We need something put in. Now, I had heard, and I can be wrong, that it only takes 3 votes from the commission to do something about this. And I want to ask y'all, please, I don't know if you could vote tonight to turn it back over to planning and them, to let them look at this, and whoever needs to take a bite of this thing and fix this for us in Newton County. If y'all can do this for us, we beg you, please do that, because I love Newton County. This is my home, and I hate to see what's happening in Newton County. I'm hearing we don't have parks enough for folks, and it's a shame that we don't have what we need. And I think everybody up here means well. The whole thing is we can't get together on what we need to do. And that's where we got to start talking, coming together, working together, trying to put those pieces of this puzzle together so that we help everybody. Not just a few, not just a few here, but entire Newton County. And I just thank y'all very much, and thank y'all.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, actually, Mr. Cooper and I spoke through email today, but I'm getting, we need a way to facilitate the requests that come to the commissioners, I believe, for, you know, I get the request, the random request for, I need my road paved. So I try to encourage those, I told you earlier, I try to encourage those citizens to use Notify Newton on their smartphone. That's what I use anonymously, and it seems to work. But I just don't, I'm at a loss as to what to tell somebody sometime when they call and say, hey, I need my road paved, or my road hadn't been paved in 40 years. So just kind of think about that and maybe with Chester and come up with maybe something, some verbiage or some referral process, if you don't mind. But I will encourage them to use Notify Newton. It's a wonderful app. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to thank the residents of District 3, Stoneleigh Community, Winchester Park, and many others who came out. I've always stated that this is your county. We work for you. You're our boss. You hire us and you fire us at the polls. You are the ones that we're supposed to be listening to. We are considered to be, we should be, public servants. We are here to serve the community, not serve ourselves. So my apology to the Stoneleigh community, because I had no idea. I don't know how it was kept from me. I'm out and about. That this has been going on for 2 years. I had no idea. So when you reached out to me and told me about this situation, I did get on it, and I reached out to our development service manager and our county manager. And so we as a board have to come together to reset our zoning and ordinances because they're outdated and they don't fit this time. So my apologies to you and the state of my board. Would you want to come out of your nice and beautiful homes and see campers and see somebody barbecuing in your nice, beautiful $300,000-$400,000 homes? So if you would like that, maybe you should allow that camper to be in your backyard. So we need to think about those various things. In regards to Parks and Rec, when someone says the west side of Newton County, and I represent all of Newton County, I hear from the north side and what they tell me what they want and how they want to stay in their rural area. I hear from the west side who are tired of development and building. But when you say an area, and I've heard a commissioner state this, and someone on Facebook said a commissioner told them this, when you say an area is crime infested, let me give you some statistics, and this came from economic development. Your highest degree residents live in District 3. Those who have master's and bachelor's and doctoral degrees live in District 3 in Newton County. So when you say that this area is crime infested, you're talking about educated people. When you say in this area is crime infested, you also talking about the children who have nothing to do, because why? They've been deprived for so many years. Now, I am, point of order, can you stop my time?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
When you're saying crime-infested area, you had a commissioner who sat here for 12 years. Didn't put a park, didn't put a playground. I'm in 2023, fighting for a park and fighting for a playground. And you had a commissioner sat in this seat for 12 years. So when you're calling crime-infested areas, you're saying, oh, because this area may have had certain things, but if you also look at the crime rate in Newton County, you actually pull the report like I did, you would know that those people who committed crimes in District 3 were not from District 3. They were from other areas that came into the area to commit those crimes. But we also have children that are in need of programming. They deserve the sidewalks. We had kids who get hit by cars trying to walk to school because you put so many subdivisions that came in before I came in place. These subdivisions were approved by the previous board, and some of you sat on this board. And you put all those subdivisions, but you did not put provisions in place and the structure in place for the roads and sidewalks. So you have kids who are dodging cars and parents trying to dodge their kids getting to school. So this is what you see over in District 3. So when you feel like you're denying something in my area, you're not doing it to me. I said this 20,000 times. My child's in her second year in college. I only have one. I'm fighting for a community. I'm fighting for kids who do not have a voice. So when you're denying something that I put on here just because you don't like, because I speak out for the community and I call you out when you're wrong, that's on you. That is a personal problem that you need to ask your therapist why you have that issue. And you need to think about the community and not yourself.
Commissioner Henderson. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. C. I just want to say this. If there was a community center built years ago, a historic community center that was moved on side the creek where the kids had to play in the community in the mud, moved to better ground, that it wouldn't be closed. If it was in district, any other district besides District 3 or District 4, they wouldn't close it, but they'd do it in District 4. If there was a community center that didn't need to be built in any other district, it would be built. I know we took $5 million from the budget, unbudgeted money, and built a fire station.
I voted for it. I said, yeah, that's the right thing to do because the people wanted it. And I guess when I ended up with Commissioner Sanders and myself, and I said, more than me, you get retribution. They should close down community centers where kids don't have nowhere to go and play. And with a basketball court, they said, well, why you put a fence around? Because I didn't want to play all night long. They got it wide open, they playing all night long. You even hear some shots out there sometimes. Cans, beer cans, and stuff all over the road, whereas we used to be clean. But that's what they want in our community. That's what they want. And that's not right. I'm telling you. And the young lady came and said, oh, guess what? You sound like you're fussing. I only started fussing for about 8 years ago. It'll be 8 years in this year. 8 years ago because things wasn't going right. You got to treat people right. Our kids don't have nowhere to go, and their parents can't afford. They can't afford to pay that $150 for a recreation fee. I know that's the fee for football. They can't afford it. They don't got nothing to do but run around the street. 2 got killed in apartments. 2 got killed down the street from me because they don't have nothing to do. The GK Island building, one that we were very proud of, they allowed the sign on the building. The county took it off and put it on side the building before Black History Month. That's how much they care about the little history that we do have here in Newton County. The gym, historic gym, it's got a leak in it. It messed up that, $100,000 floor? We got a leak in it. And that's not right. That's not right. It's not right to our community. And I'm going to quote Aaron Varner. Aaron Varner, who was a Republican chairman who sat on the board, said, what's good in one community, it's good for Newton County. We got to come together. It's not me. It's not me. I'm not the one that's fighting. I'm fighting for what we need. And I know we need a park in District 3. And we should let the community leader, the commissioner, we should let her lead us in what they need. But they take that from us. They take it from us and do what they want to do. It's not right.
Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I usually don't say too much. I do think, though, I don't think there's any commissioner up here that's trying to line his own pocket or do his own agenda. When you're faced with a lot of issues in front of you, you have to make a decision on them. We know that we've got to have some stuff in District 3 for our West Side Community Center. That's already been approved through a SPLOST referendum, I believe. And it will get built. It's just a matter of getting the time set down to where we can discuss it and make a good plan for it. We've talked different things in the past. Nothing has been able to be put into concrete and become a part of a big plan. So it's not that anybody's trying to stop anything. It's a matter of we've got to sit down and discuss things. There are a lot of issues out there. I'm really concerned about the Stone Lee community issue. That to me is a code enforcement issue, and I'm sure our director of code enforcement will be addressing that and taking a look at that with the county manager. I know how I would handle it, but I tell you, I'm just an old lawyer, and I'm just wanting to take people to court, get an order against them, put a lien on their property, but that's just the way I think. I don't want anybody else to follow my lead on that. But I just want to say that I don't think any of these men up here and this lady here are trying to do anything in their own self-interest. I think they're all good people, and it's difficult to be a county commissioner. Thank you.
Commissioner Mason. Thank you. I seek a motion that we adjourn, please. Second. Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. All in favor?